You can't build a business without a team, and you can't have a team if you don't pay them. So how do you pay the team? And we are back on the Wholesaling Business Blueprint series. Let's talk about how you structure the team payments, okay? You can't run a company without a team, and you can't have a team if you're not paying them right, okay? So what makes sense in a wholesaling business? What makes sense in terms of paying your team? That's what I want to break down right now. Before I dive right into that, I want to ask you to please subscribe to the channel. I know you come in and then you take a look and sometimes you leave. Do me a favor, if you're watching my content, subscribe. We need to grow this thing. We need to let people know what we're doing and pay it forward. So with that being said, make sure you subscribe, like, and you share. So I put this short little video together just showing you how my payment structure is, okay? This is how I structure the salaries and the commissions based on the roles and responsibilities of the people in my team, okay? The actual organizational chart is a little different, but right now we're just gonna focus on the amounts that I am paying the team, and it works. This is stuff that I've tried and I've tested, and I've upped percentages, I've dropped percentages, I've made salaries, I made commissions out of certain roles and whatnot, and the structure that I have right now works well, okay? We do deals on a consistent basis, and with this pay structure, the team is empowered, okay? They are earning money, they're doing their thing, they feel motivated to do more, and it's incentivized based on merit, so it works really well. All right, so let's dive right into it. I do have a team of cold callers in place. All right, the cold callers, they are reaching out for, they're just plowing through data, they're calling everybody and their mom to see if they want to sell their property, okay? They're cold calling people to see if we can find a property that we can provide a solution to, get under contract, and then sell it to a buyer. The team of cold callers gets paid between $5 and $8 an hour. We have a couple of seasoned cold callers in there that they make the $8 an hour, right? But their thing is to sit there on the phones and then just plowing the data all day long. So they have, multiple conversations, every hour. So their role is to have a bunch of conversations every single hour while they're sitting there on the computer, looking at the data, looking at the screen, and then sourcing the leads. Cold callers make anywhere from $5 to $8 an hour. Okay, depending on if you're outsourcing that or if you're, you have it in-house, meaning that if you're outsourcing, you hired a company to help you out with that portion, it's gonna be a little pricier. If you have them in-house, you're gonna be able to pay them a little less because you don't have that middleman, and then yet they still keep the revenue, right? So you're not skimming them if you bring them in-house. And I have VAs. My cold callers operate from the Philippines. Okay, so the Philippines, the economic system is very different than ours. They get paid less than what it costs here to have a cold caller in place. But they work well. They generate leads on a solid, consistent basis. Those are the cold callers. We pay them anywhere from $5 to $8 an hour. The next one is going to be my lead manager. She's also in-house, and she makes a salary of $10 an hour. Okay, so these two roles are salary. She makes $10 an hour, and her role is to actually manage the cold callers. So she's running the cold callers. She has that going on, and then she's pre-qualifying all the leads that the cold callers are sending in. All right. So the cold callers are having a conversation. They just source a lead, and then they send it over to my lead manager, and she pre-qualifies the leads. And she manages their KPIs and all that stuff, right? So that's her own little world and her own little department. So salary, $10 an hour, plus bonuses. So anytime I forgot to mention this. So anytime we close a deal, we'll give the lead manager a $100 bonus, and the cold caller that sourced the deal, $50. Okay, those are just small bonuses per deal, type of stuff, but they're incentives. Those go along. They go a long way. Let's change this color over here. It's too dark. They go a long way. So 50 and 100. The third one is gonna be acquisitions. Acquisitions is straight up commissions. We don't do a base salary for acquisitions. Our percentages are higher, and they get 10 to 15% of the net revenue. That's revenue after expenses. If you had any expenses in the deal or whatnot, net revenue of the deal, they get 10 to 15% depending on how much revenue they've closed throughout the month. All right, so we have a tiered pay scale, but they make anywhere from 10 to 15%. If your average deal size is going to be $25,000, I mean, they're taking $2,500 out of that. So they're incentivized to perform. When they hit a certain threshold, we'll give them 15% of anything that's coming after that. Okay, so they get bumped from 10 to 15%. That's the commission structure for acquisitions. There's no base. Again, there is no base. So that's that. It's what it allows me to do is to create a controlled overhead for that salary. Okay, I don't want to be paying salaries and salaries and salaries and salaries if people are not performing. There's certain places where I can't get around that, which is cold callers and lead managers. But in acquisitions, it's a different thing. I need these people operating, even if we don't have any deals going on, right? But if, for example, acquisitions are not locking deals, they're not getting paid. You eat what you kill. It's the nature of the beast, right? So the next one is going to be dispositions. It's another commission-based role. Acquisitions, we have 3 acquisitions going on. So there's 3 acquisition reps working and bringing deals in on a consistent basis. So there's 3 people generating deals here that get paid anywhere from 10 to 15. The next one is going to be dispo. That's also a commission-based. We do 5% on dispositions. Okay, we used to have it at 10%, but as the deals go, the deal count gets higher, it stops making sense if you're putting more money into the marketing, because you have to spend more money in marketing to keep the leads going, right? For the cold callers, for the lead managers, if you're doing PPC, so you have to control that overhead. So we dropped it down to 5%, and it's not necessarily a bad thing going from 10 to 5, because now the dispositions rep is getting deals from 3 acquisition managers. Okay, so they're getting deals from 3 acquisition managers. They're getting 5% out of every single deal that goes. So they have a lot more deals to work on than if it was just one guy, right? So if you're starting off and you only have one person, you can set it at 10%. Just have that conversation that you may have to bring it back to a 5 after the deal flow hits a certain number or whatnot. But that's how it runs for us. 5% of the net revenue of the deal, and these people are working 10, 12 deals on a monthly basis. So they're making good chunk of cash. They can make more than each one of the acquisition reps, depending on production. So the next one is the transaction coordinator. They help the dispo. They manage the paperwork. That's also another VA. She is stationed in the Philippines, and that's $9 an hour. Transaction coordination for us it's a $9 an hour job. We keep it in-house. Okay. They report to my dispo manager. They manage the transaction coordinators. And the last one, it's going to be, I think, one of the most important roles is that director of operations. That's a salary. This is the person that if you're the CEO, the person right below you is going to be that director of operations. He's your gatekeeper. Okay, so he deals or she deals with the headaches, with the stuff that come up on a regular basis and whatnot. It's the person that allows you not to be anchored into your business, right? So this may not be the first role that you hire for, but I think it's definitely one of the roles that you have to consider as your business starts growing and as you want to start stepping away little by little from the business itself. See what I did there? I stepped away, and then I came back. All right, so director of operations. They get 10% of the net revenue of the deal. 10% of the net revenue of the deal. So they make just as much as the acquisitions, but they make it on all of the acquisition reps. So if you have 3 reps working for you and they all bring in 10 deals, your director of operations, because it's overseeing, or she is overseeing the whole entire operation, is going to make 10% of whatever that is, right? At the total revenue, the total net revenue per deal. So it allows you to think about it. This structure allows you to cap your major expenses, right? The percentages are going to be way bigger numbers than the salaries that you have per hour here. You can control the hours, you can dial it back, you can ramp it up a little bit, you can plug another person, and you know what this overhead is going to be, right? But as the deals start coming in, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. You don't want to have something, or let's say that just production falls flat for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it sometimes happens, right? Because you switch marketing strategies or whatever. You don't want to have a big expense just idling over your head, even if it's not, when there's no revenue coming in. Okay, it's all based on merit. If they perform, they make money. If they don't perform, you need to reconsider, right, who you have on your team. So, anyways, this is a good payment structure, and again, what it does, So just to kind of break it down here, what it'll do is if I pay my acquisition rep, I don't know, say 10%, right? And then I pay my dispo 10% or 5%. And then I pay my director of ops another 10%. My overhead and salary here is 25, right? So it's a controlled expense out of every deal. It just allows me to have that room to wiggle and not really get super dinged on the overhead revenue. At the end of the day, as a business owner, I'm still taking the vast majority of the percentage because I have to put some of that stuff back into it in terms of marketing and all that stuff. But this payment structure allows me to control the cash flow as it comes in, and I know how much I'm going to spend based on how much we're going to produce, as opposed to just having like salaries across the table or draws or stuff like that. A lot of people don't like having the commission based. In my experience, when you have somebody whose tenacity is high, who can actually bet on themselves and improve and learn and close and all that stuff, they're gonna want this. They're gonna want the commission structure as opposed to that monthly check or whatever comfort payment you're paying out. So breakdown on how to pay your team. It works wonders. If you have any comments, you have something better, let me know. Let's have a conversation. And again, subscribe, like, and share. Help me out. Help me spread the word. Help me pay it forward. Stay focused. You got this. Let's go.